Okay, welcome neighbors. This is December 12th, 2023, and this is the final Reservoir Hill Association meeting of the year. Thank you all who are here this evening. We do not have a presenter this year for this meeting, and we have quite a few topics to cover. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. Hello, I'm Kendra Pryor. Today, we are going to go through our board reports, and I just wanted to start off the meeting by letting everyone know that our annual reporting will be out and online in the new year. So our annual financial report and the report of the board will go online at the end of the year. I think that it is usually traditional that we do that during this meeting, but life, it's been difficult. So we'll just go ahead and make sure that that is available in January, and we can go over and discuss it in January. And so the January meeting will hopefully be a really big one. There are a couple of things that we also want to discuss in January about slight and minor amendments to the bylaws, which we'll go into in a second. So as usual, we'll begin with our board reports, starting with our officers and going into our committees. And then we'll open up the conversation about, I think we have to hold some time for BP tunnel issues because they're super urgent. A lot of things actually occurred this late last night. An email was sent out by Amtrak, and there's been a lot of discussion today. And over the last month, last 30 days, there's been a lot of discussion with neighbors about some urgent moves that we might need to take as a neighborhood. So I felt like it might be helpful to just have a little open forum to discuss those things towards the end of the meeting. So I'll hold that towards the end, and then we'll begin with our board reports as usual. So I'll take a little pause. If you have any questions about that. Okay. All right. So I'll begin. So we had our annual membership meeting this past November, and it was actually a pretty great showing of about 20 people, and most of which were not members or people who weren't members or couldn't actually regularly attend this meeting time on a Tuesday evening was really difficult for them. So a Saturday meeting was really good. And a couple of people who said that they prefer meeting in person and not online, which led me to open up that conversation again with the school about potentially using their space for our meetings so that we can allow people that still are not really comfortable with meeting online to do that, to meet in person, and still open up the opportunity to meet via Zoom. However, it seems as if it's quite steep right now for us to hold an hour-long meeting at the school would cost us around $50 a meeting. And that is a little bit expensive for us as an organization, not completely out of reach, but it would be a cost that we don't currently have that we would have to add to our budget. Additionally, there might be, there was an original conversation when the school was being built about it also being a community rec center. And in those documents, it said that the community would have regular access to the building as a community center. So what I'm trying to figure out is, how do we get that access where we can actually use the building as a community without incurring additional fees, if it's possible? So I don't have an answer to that, but I just wanted you to know that those conversations are interconnected. Secondly, of course, I want to talk a lot about the BP tunnel and some things that neighbors have been discussing around that. We were alerted late last night. We got an email around 10:55 that they were going to begin construction on the buildings on North Avenue, building towards demolition going into the new year. Several community members have emailed Odessa Phillip wondering why that that was happening when they pretty much told us it wouldn't begin until the new year and that there would be some additional conversations before that time. We're still unclear about that, and we have a lot of follow-up emails to have, but if you see construction along North Avenue, that's what it's related to. Right now, they're saying they're just doing internal work and shoring up the building, putting up fencing, nothing that would require, according to them, permits. So we're still trying to get more clarity, but again, this is what we are most concerned about, is how Amtrak consistently takes actions and does work in the community without informing us in advance. Obviously, an email at 10:55 p.m. about work beginning the next morning is not acceptable and is certainly not the way that we want to begin communication, especially when in the email it says to keep children and the elderly away from the construction site when the construction is occurring right next to a school. Not only is that difficult, in some cases that would be nearly impossible. So as soon as we find out more information, we'll share that. And if you want to join the BP Tunnel working group, where any kind of urgent messaging around the BP Tunnel occurs, you can put your email in the chat and I'll make sure that I or Lisa will add you, and we'll get into that in a second. WNODA, the West North Avenue Development Authority, also had tons of meetings this last month. In November, we got to see some of the initial thinking around what they think West North Avenue will look like. And only until this morning did we get the full report of that, which we should actually put on the website tomorrow night from 5 to 6 p.m. They're having a meeting on the request for proposals or requests for qualifications for 6 target areas along the West North Avenue region, the corridor. So if you or a neighbor or someone that you know is interested in submitting to the RFQ, you would want to attend that. I have always, been pretty critical about what's going on with WNODA. I think it's an excellent opportunity. However, a lot of people are kind of being left out of the process. This turnaround for submitting to RFQ is really quick. So it seems like the people that will be most able to submit to it are people who have already done large development projects, but that is, we will see. But if you want more information about that, please do go to our website, where we are trying to put all of the events that we find out about onto our Google Calendar. If you haven't already subscribed to that calendar, I think that's the easiest way to keep track of everything that's going on with the community in Baltimore City, and certainly with RHA. I really encourage you to do it. If you're not a big online or a digital calendar user, you can check it periodically online. It's posted online, but I think it's easier if you subscribe. So the final thing that I wanted to share with you all is that we've been working, the board has been working with the Neighborhood Design Center to get us geared up for going through a series of charrettes throughout the new year to create a city accepted vision plan for the neighborhood. This has been a major goal for RHA for the last, I want to say, 2 years. We've been talking about supporting building a neighborhood design plan that is accepted by the city. We currently don't have one. And the city really uses, the city, state, and federal government uses these vision and design plans to support development projects within the neighborhood. And it really helps developers understand what the neighborhood wants the future of the neighborhood to look like. How should it feel and what our goals are? So it's a really important project. And right now, the last meeting that we had with the board and NDC was just talking about the different stakeholders that should be involved in making this design plan possible. And they gave us back notes from that meeting, which we will make public and online for your feedback. basically, obviously we said that we wanted to engage all the resident-run organizations in the neighborhood, that they should be really important parts. But we also, part of the charrette process, but we also flagged some target groups, which include people that move around the neighborhood in wheelchairs, for example, or are disabled, because we've noticed with some development work, there's been a lot of concerns about ADA compliance and how that changes people's ways of moving within the neighborhood. So we know that group should definitely be included. We also flagged that we would want to make sure that our elderly neighbors are included. So making sure that meetings are accessible in multiple ways, that people can attend in person and online. I think that we also flagged that we need to better engage folks that are renters. That's something that RHA has made as a major goal for us, because a lot of people view these kind of organizations as like homeowners association, or that a vision for the neighborhood could only include people that own property. And we want to make it super clear that we understand that the majority of people that live and work in Reservoir Hill are renters, and we want to see them as part of that future of the Reservoir Hill future. So a lot of the conversation was geared about how we can rethink home ownership opportunity to not just to be about single family homes, but exploring other home ownership opportunities that allow people to stay and have a long-term life here in the neighborhood. So that was very long, sorry, but that is what has happened over the last month. And with that, I don't think that that our vice president is here today. So I'm going to skip Jerika for now, and I'm going to move to welcome Lisa Ward, who is our incoming board secretary. Lisa, would you mind giving a quick introduction to yourself, or a long introduction? Introduce yourself to the group if they haven't met you already, and why you're agreeing to do this.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to embrace this role as secretary. I'm happy to be engaged with this wonderful community in any way that I can. So fast typist, great at taking notes. So I think I can hopefully keep us on track and on board. And so if anybody has any questions or needs me to do anything in particular, please feel free to reach out to me. I will make it a point to be available. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Lisa. And just for everyone's, I think a lot of times when people hear the word secretary, they think, an administrative assistant, but in RHA, the board secretary is really the person that makes sure that we're following the rules of the bylaws in the way that we are keeping track of our documentation, that we are making sure that we are tracking our members and allowing votes to run properly. So it's a really important position because they're kind of the guardian of the organization, ensuring all of our documentation and the way that we do things is legal according to our bylaws. And Lisa's background as a lawyer will be extremely helpful in that work. Also, Lisa is a super brilliant person, very thoughtful, and a wonderful neighbor, and I really look forward to working with her. So thank you for agreeing to be our secretary, which has been a position that's been open for so long. So welcome.
It's an honor, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. So I will move on to Chet, our treasurer.
Hello, everyone. Just a quick update. Life has gotten in the way for me, especially this month, but I will get the annual report out for the beginning of the year. We currently have $10,098 in the bank, and I expect we'll have a little bit more than that by the end of the year because of the reimbursements for the bike lane cleanup that happened a couple weekends ago. So if anybody has any questions, you can email me directly at treasurer@reservoirhillassociation.org. And you can always donate via PayPal or check or Venmo. No, not Venmo, I'm sorry, Cash App at RHA Donate. And if you have any questions, you can also stick something in the chat as well.
Thank you so much, Chet, and thanks to everyone who has donated and submitted their dues for becoming members. Right now, we are updating our website in a way so that you can really track and see if you are eligible for membership, that you are in good standing. Obviously, we're starting a new year, so our new dues are going to be due for the next year. I don't think we've had any discussions about increasing dues, so dues will remain the same. Generally, we would vote on that issue. Maybe I should pause to see if anyone on the call has a problem with our due structure. Maybe this is not the best way to do it. Maybe I should bring it up to a vote. I think every year, technically, Lisa, this is too new for me to ask you, but I think technically we're supposed to vote on our due scale every year. So amongst the other items that I'm hoping that we can vote on, which include a slight change of naming. So for example, the marketing and communications committee used to be called the social committee or something like that. It's very confusing because it sounds like an events committee. So there's going to be some votes that you're going to see if you're a member in good standing and able to vote coming your way in January. In the January meeting, hopefully we can vote on those small issues. And then amongst them, we have to vote in our new due amount. But just for a reminder for those of you who may have not voted last year, maybe you weren't a member then, we said that we wanted a due structure that was extremely affordable. And we decided that $1 a month felt okay. Like we felt like most people in our neighborhood could afford that would not be a barrier for anyone becoming a member, because we certainly do not want our dues to become a barrier for anyone. But also in our membership bylaws, we state that if the financial aspect of becoming a member is stopping you, if that's the only thing that's the barrier for you becoming a member in good standing, that we would be able to waive those dues for you. All you would have to do is contact a board member and let us know that that's the case, and then we would waive it and it wouldn't be an issue. So I just wanted to say that out loud. I think that our due structure is working, but I think when Chet does his financial report, we'll see. But thanks again to the work of the multiple people that have fundraised for us, all of you who have given dues, and luckily the different grants that we've been attached to in the last year, we're in much better financial straits than we were this time last year. And I'm really proud of the work of our board in getting to the place that we are now. So thank you, Chet. And I look forward to sharing with you the way to look up your status in the new year. Okay, so now we're gonna go and move to the chairs. And I think the first person that usually goes is Brandy, but she is currently still at work, so she can't report back right now. So it's gonna move on to Rolando.
I have nothing to report today.
Didn't you attend the community meeting for the Western District? Was there anything that they shared?
No, I did not.
Oh, you weren't able to attend. Okay.
No.
And that meeting happens every third Tuesday at 7. So I do believe that's on our calendar. So if you would like to attend as a community member, I know some people have been attending just based off of our calendar. Like they'll show up to events, and I'm really happy that that's working. Anything that you see on the calendar is open to any members to attend. And I would love to figure out a way to figure out when our members are attending meetings that board members can't make, because that happens. You know, we're all volunteers. So there's times that I'm like, I really want to be at this meeting. I just can't go. So I know that we need to figure out a way to signal to each other that someone from Reservoir Hill is representing. And I've been thinking that it would be a really great idea to give the opportunity to members to report back off from those meetings when they've attended on behalf of the community. If anyone has an idea on how to do that and wants to like put it in the chat, I'd be happy to hear your ideas, or if you just want to raise your hand and share it as you've thought about it. I would love to hear how we could better organize to make sure that we're covering the myriad of meetings going on in the city that need to be attended for the community. So I'm going to hop to Lauren Mohammed.
I'm here. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Technical difficulties. Hi, everybody. So, yeah, Kendra mentioned the jump event that took place approximately 3 weekends ago, and we did a great job. However, we do have 12 yards of wood chips that needed to be spread. I did speak with a gentleman that assisted us with that project, Michael Kabidi. I hope I'm not disgracing his name, but he's from the Maryland Department of Transportation, and he drove the trash truck from site to site and collected garbage. I spoke with him on this weekend, and he said that as soon as we can come up with a good date, a warm date, collective date, that we will get another team out there. So anybody on the call, if we could agree to keep our eye on the weather in the very near future, the upcoming week and weekend, Fridays and Saturdays are good for me as the chair of the Green Committee. I would like to make that site look like we wanted it to look. We started off with an amazing job. We planted native flowers that are asleep right now. You won't see the benefit of them until the spring, but we could spread the wood chips. It would protect those roots, keep them warm over the winter until we revisit them in the spring and give them more love. Also, any remaining wood chips are available to take to your own personal garden spaces or community gardens that you're aware of. We don't need the entire 12 yards for that plot, but what I'm asking now is to start thinking green and consider an availability in the very near future where we can collectively again meet at that same location and finish the amazing work we started. So as for the Green Committee news, that's all I have for now, but I will be hosting a meeting soon to talk about refurbishing the tree beds in Reservoir Hill. At the Green Up event, I came into contact with a gentleman who's already doing the work in Remington and other areas of our community, and he's already planted 600 trees. So he told me that we can do it in Reservoir Hill, and he's available to assist us. So the Green Committee is about to get really green. Thank you, guys. I've been fighting off a cold, so that's it for me. No other updates.
Thank you, Lauren. And Lauren is being so gracious because I dropped the ball like several times in following up with the Green team about scheduling that time to spread the wood chips, and she didn't even call me out. I appreciate that. And I will say that Lauren can use as much love and support on that team. So if you want to join the Green team, I put a little, thing in the chat. If you want to join the Green team, please put your email and we can add you to the listserv the same way. I just added the two BP Tunnel Working Group people to the mailing list already. You're in it. And if you want to join the Green team also has their own mailing list as well. And another thing I wanted to share with you all, because with Green, like Lauren all the time has these amazing opportunities because she's plugged into so many groups. I don't want to speak for you, Lauren, but I know you're super well connected in the city. And every so often there's an opportunity that will come around, but you have to like respond super quickly to it. So one thing that the board has committed to doing is opening up their Slack group to the rest of the community. So we have, you know, locked Slack groups, and then we have Slack groups that are public. And so what we're trying to do is build Slack groups that can respond quickly to things. So if you want to join the Green Team Slack group where she can say things like, I'm just thinking, Lauren, of like opportunities over the last year that I remember you pointing out, like, oh, there's a giveaway, but you have to come right now. Or, oh, there is, you know, compost, a big heap of compost that we need to get rid of. Can you join right now? And obviously the items with the wood chips, like we got more wood chips than we could possibly use, but because we're a nonprofit, we paid very little for it. So if you need that for your yard, you might, you know, want to go ahead and be on that list. And of course, you know, there were moments where, you know, Lauren's harvest was overflowing when she was gardening in the neighborhood and just had an abundant harvest and wanted to share that with other people, especially people who have contributed their work and time to greening the neighborhood. So just wanted to share that with you. Lauren, I know that I owe you a lot of to-dos, and thank you for graciously not calling me out on all of them over the call. So I will move on to the next board member. Let's see. Who do I see? Oh, Janae, would you like to go next?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I don't have a lot to report as far as activity for the events committee. I have been supporting some of the meetings that have already been mentioned, the annual meeting that happened in November, the Big Jump cleanup. You know, we supported that, and we actually have some amazing before and after pictures that we're going to post on to our website. I'm putting marketing on the spot. But anyway, wanted to share those before and after pictures so we can see the wonderful job that we did as a collaborative effort between several neighborhoods. It was really quite amazing. And Miss Lauren Muhammad really put the cherry on top with creating a beautiful green space and re-upping the Y triangle at the top of Utah. So been supporting that, and also as a springboard from that activity, we have signed up to have a community green up cleanup day, January 6th. So the Green Committee will probably have more information about that, but that was something that I was able to assist with. And moving forward, Ms. Muhammad is going to be the point person for all of those activities. We had a really great time this year, and so looking forward to pulling through in 2024. Just as a reminder, our next events committee meeting is scheduled for December the 28th. And at that meeting, it is time for us to start organizing and discussing how we want to execute around our garden and home tour for 2024. So again, another amazing event that happened this year. And so we want to take what we learned, take some of the connections that we've made, the momentum, and bring it forward for 2024. We were trying to do something for the holidays in 2023 this year, but life was happening over here on Utah as well. So that it looks like it's not going to happen, but we have some amazing light displays and amazing holiday decorations all around the neighborhood. I encourage you to take a ride and see some of the beautiful decorations that people have put up. We're not finished over here on Utah. We got a little bit more to go. But again, you know, 'tis the season, so hopefully we can all get out and see some of the beautiful exterior decorations that the neighbors have put up. That's it for the events committee, so I'm going to toss it back over to you, Keandra.
Thank you, Janae. And I realized that November was so busy. So many things happened. It's actually hard to realize that all this stuff happened in November. So I also want to shout out that for that big jump cleanup, we were able to acquire a lot of supplies for the youth and for the Green Committee because of the grant that the Department of Transportation had. We were also able to request supplies for our green team. But what I'm really excited about is that Lauren, for a really long time, was doing extensive work with the with Dorothy I. Height with students there, and actually started a like junior green team there and was planting and gardening with them over the spring until the school year ended. And so this year, I know that she's been working, trying to get, I mean, Dorothy Height is extremely busy and it's really hard to coordinate over there. So I know that she was in the process. Lauren, I don't want to speak for you of like talking about what that might look like, but in anticipation of that, we were able to acquire gloves and gardening tools for them. And we're also able to get other supplies that were desperately needed for greening activities in the community. We usually rent our big tools from the tool, I always say the tool library, but it's not the right term. The tool
Bank.
Thank you so much. We usually rent them from the tool bank, but for certain things, we had been coming out of pocket, like Rolando and Janae purchased vests, and Rolando got a family member to put RHA on the back of them. And all of those types of things that you've seen in the past came out of the pockets of board members. They just volunteered their funds to make those things happen. But now we were able to tap into some funding to not have to pay out of pocket and to actually pay out of the accounts. And what Chet was referencing is because of that work and that coordination with DOT and Remington on a really short timeline, we're able to get around a little over $2,000 in funds to support that greening effort and to support future greening work. And if you are driving up on Utah onto Druid Park Lake Drive, and you know where those rose bushes and stuff, and you see that huge heap of wood chips. So that's the work that Lauren was talking about needs to be completed. But before, those rose bushes were super overgrown. They had vines wrapped all around them. It looked really horrible. And I think, Lauren, how many hours were we out there? Probably like,
the event was supposed to be from 9 to 2. I don't think we were home. Anybody was home before 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
And it was cold. It was cold. We pulled trash, weeds. It was a day, but we got in there. We loved it.
It was a beautiful day and a wonderful bonding experience. And so, and we were, you know, Lauren already said this, but I'm just going to reiterate it. We're able to plant all native plants in there and get, you know, plants from Herring Run Nursery, which, you know, supports the Maryland ecosystem and waterways. And it was just a wonderful experience to put what has been Lauren's long-term vision, but we didn't have the funding to back it up. So it's just really nice to see that come into reality. So I hope we can continue as we move into the new year. Obviously in January for that green up cleanup, we won't be doing planting because plants are dormant. So it'll be really I guess up to Lauren to kind of figure out what does that mean within our philosophy, because Lauren's philosophy isn't just about beautification for beautification's sake or cleanup just for cleanup's sake. It's really focused on our land, air, and waterways, and making sure that we're really thinking environmentally in all of our work and our processes. So I'm really excited.
Can I say one thing before
Of
we?
course.
So what I did notice, excuse me, in the cleanup is that a lot of the sewage areas were neglected, and partly because we didn't have the support of the city to put cones, particularly on Druid Park Lake Drive. The one side, there's no sidewalk. If anyone drives down Druid Park Lake Drive from Utah east and looks to their left, all those gutters are clogged with trash because the wind blows them there. There's no sidewalk, there's no access to them. We need to focus on getting permission from the city to put some cones for a couple of hours to at least clean those gutters. And then our cleanup in that day should be focusing on our waterways. We do a lot on the ground, but we're not paying enough attention to the waterways.
And I just wanted to add in that is something that we focused on for our cleanups last year. And we do have before and after pictures. And it was a focus that Rolando made sure that we pulled through on for all of the cleanups that we did in 2023. So I think that it may have been a missed opportunity for what we did in collaboration with the other groups, but it was still, an amazing opportunity to work collaboratively and, clean up our neighborhoods. But certainly I agree with you, Lauren, and we can pull through and continue to capitalize on what our knowledge and our resources for making sure we think about our waterways and not just about picking up trash and just, the visual part of it. The whole ecosystem is really important.
Okay, thank you both. And I will move on to Daryl.
Marketing called COVID and and the flu. And so marketing does not have much of a report for this month. But I would like to say that we won't meet in December, but we will meet in January, and I will at that point have specific jobs for volunteers. So I'm going to be able to more clearly define what we're doing, what we need, and how individuals can help. As a couple of things that I really didn't figure out completely that I need to so that individuals that are volunteering that it will be the easiest manner for us to be able to communicate and to work. We've had a great year insofar as what we've created. It's been a joy to create materials, messaging around both the or the events that are standing events for this year, as well as messaging around the cleanups. And in next year, in defining those roles, we will be able to. One moment, I'm working. We will be able to. We'll be able to add to that by giving someone the role of messaging all of the wonderful pictures that we have from all of these events, from cleanups, from our annual meeting last month. My one-man show has been woefully inadequate at that portion. I don't know why that's a sticking point for me. But moving forward, we're going to show you all these wonderful pictures we have of you all in motion, contributing to making historic Reservoir Hill neighborhood and community the beacon that it deserves to be. It's been my pleasure to chair this committee this year, and I look forward to working with you all in all capacities next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daryl. I want to say that we actually did one thing before, a really big thing before you you got sick, and that is to put up our new website. I know that sounds crazy, but that did happen last month. We did a lot last month, which is why we're so tired right now. I'm realizing that as we're reporting back, I'm like, this is why we were exhausted and all sick. So I just want to say our website is newly updated. We now have a community calendar, which is what I was referencing, for you to subscribe to and add to your personal calendar. You can subscribe to it and see those updates. I'm going to just put that in the chat that you can email marketing or webmaster if you see something that is just not working. I just want to really, really quickly run through the website for you because I know that's something that I wanted to just highlight, some new things that weren't there before. But I seem to have trouble finding the thing that says share. Oh, share screen. There we go. So really, really, really quickly, I promise. So here we tried to update like the week of, obviously that hasn't been updated for a second, but these, that was a really incredibly busy week with Amtrak. So you would see all the flyers and how to RSVP. If you want to become a member, it's up here. Our link to our community calendar is there. And then if you want to subscribe to the RHA newsletter, if you're not getting the messaging from marketing from Daryl and Melda, this is how you would subscribe here. This is not working for some reason, but we wanted to put a feed of our social media so you can see what we're posting. If you're curious about our bylaws, this is where you can find them. And people have questions about whether or not we're a 501c3 or when we incorporated. All that is there. Let's see what else. Some FAQs about why we exist. I think this is the most important thing because we try to keep you updated with everything that's going on in the city and in our neighborhood. But as you can see, it gets pretty crazy pretty fast. So we try to, every time someone emails us an event, we try to put this on our community calendar. If you're an organization on the call and you don't see your event here, happy to add it. There's we don't have any rules about it. We just add everything that we think will be pertinent locally to us. This is how you can find out more about registering. If you want to have anyone registered to the organization, that's how you do it. A little bit of information about our membership meetings. And if you wanted to see any past meetings, you'd go here. We're updating our member portal so that you would be able to click this. And this is what you should see, like all the past meetings and all of our agendas and any resources that we would give you in a meeting. Let's see what else. Neighborhood resources is obviously not there, but hopefully we'll put some any kind of information that we think would be helpful and pertinent on there. This is super important. In our last website, there was no way to contact us individually. So now you can go online and see who we are and email us directly. And finally, there is a donate page and a little bit information about how to donate to the organization or to mail in or electronically pay your dues. So what we're trying to add and what I was trying to say earlier is an easier way to see about your attendance records and like whether or not you're in good standing, because it still feels a little too unclear. And, adding to the list of things that I hope we can address in January, maybe this is too much to address in January, maybe we'll have to move this to a February meeting, is I think that we need to rethink the way that we're counting attendance and somehow record when people watch the membership meeting on their own time, because I don't think it's realistic that everyone can make a Tuesday at 7 p.m. meeting. I feel like it's inequitable because when I was an early mom, I couldn't have met these meetings at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday. Like I would never be able to attend this meeting. I can only do so because my husband is with my daughter right now. So with that in mind, I think it's unfair that someone that would want to be involved could not be a member in good standing simply because of work or childcare or whatever reason that makes them unable to be live in this meeting right now. And we talked a lot about that when we were writing our bylaws. We didn't come up with a solution, but I think it's overdue that we do come up with a solution for someone that does want to be involved in the organization, just cannot make a Tuesday night or weekday night meeting. If you have any ideas on how to do that, we floated a lot of ideas like, what if we just ask a random question about something that was said at like some random mark in the meeting? And if you could answer that question, then you're good. You attended because you watched the video. The only way you would know what happened is because you watched the video. So that was like something that was floated. But if you can think of another way, maybe something so much more simpler than that to figure out how to, count attendance for people, we would love to hear it, because obviously we want to be as inclusive as possible. The goal of the membership scheme is not to be exclusionary. It is simply because we want people to be members that are educated about what we're talking about. We don't want a major issue to come up to vote and then a whole bunch of random people come up because they're only interested in swaying the vote one way or the other. We want to make sure that it's people that have been engaged in the organization over time and that they're voting because they truly feel strongly about the decision making of the organization. So we can talk about that at length later. We are now at 7:50. I know I see Arlen on the call, but I also know, Arlen, you're commuting and you might not be able to talk. I think I covered most of the things like Winata Neighborhood Design Center, that, you were also involved in all those things. If there's something else that you wanted to add, I'll pause, but I know he's driving, so I don't want him to like veer off the side of the road to report. So just know he's here. He probably can't talk. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. All right, so now we have completed our board reports. And so I just wanted to leave time. I see Barbara, you're on the call. I let everyone know about that really late night correspondence that we got from Amtrak last night, and Barbara has taken out time to respond to that, so that was good. I know, Lisa, you have taken out time to respond as well and email Amtrak separately. So I just wanted to flag everyone that there's movement there. I think there is going to be a planned future conversation about how we're going to create some strategy around steering that conversation in the direction that we have. But I wanted to flag very quickly for you, there's a couple things that we need to make movement on as an organization and thinking through. So just as a review, last year we created the BP Tunnel Working Group, which was created because we were concerned about the BP Tunnel project. And we knew that RHA needed to have a committee or a subcommittee, which it is. It's a subcommittee of the PD Planning and Development Committee, to focus its effort on research and advocacy and education around the BP tunnel. However, last month, there was a meeting with Amtrak, and out of that meeting, it was crystal clear that there are some specific organizing points that the community needs to take on. One thing that was floated very clearly was the idea of needing to create a legal defense fund for the community that people could contribute to and that could support legal action, whether that is taking Amtrak to court or just to help support community members as we negotiate our land rights in the community. So that's something that was talked about. So that's one. Related, but not directly, I think directly related, is the idea that we need to form a group of people that are talking about that negotiation with a lawyer. If we were to pursue, okay, sorry, I need to back up a little bit. During that meeting with Amtrak, oh, sorry, Barbara. Okay, you have something to say?
Yeah, if I could just jump in really quickly.
Yeah,
HMRTA has an application in with something called the Community Law Center, which is a nonprofit legal organization that helps to find pro bono representation for community associations and other kinds of nonprofits. We are working with them to find someone to help advise us, all of us, anyone on the alignment on this very issue of how to negotiate the easement. We've talked about eminent domain attorneys. That's a little hard. I think we're looking for a real estate attorney.
Yeah.
We are going to do this. We are going to work with them. I'm going to get as much time from a lawyer as I can, from hopefully with some language. If anyone has any documentation that's been sent to them from Amtrak, I'd love to see it. So we will share all of that information as it comes in. I'm not really sure how long it's going to take, but we're pushing on it. So
Yeah, so we have a credit with the Community Law Center already because we utilized them. How long ago is that? Like a year and a half ago, to get help with some planning and development issues that we were having with 2201 Brookfield. It can take a really long time because you need to basically match with a lawyer. It's really smart to do it. And
yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm pushing on both ends. Like, I'm working lawyers that I know to see if I can find someone who will volunteer through them to get their pro bono hours out of the way. I'm not going to entirely rely on them to make the
Oh, no, no,
connections. So if
no.
anyone else on this call knows any real estate lawyers, give me their contact information.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So I think so what I was trying to say is to back up, because I realized as I'm speaking out loud, not everyone was able to attend the Amtrak meetings. So during the first meeting with Amtrak, which was for everyone along the alignment, it was basically stated that yes, indeed, communities could come together as a collective and negotiate land rights together. Like, that's not, it doesn't require for you to negotiate one-on-one between an individual property owner and Amtrak, this huge corporation. And they seemed really open about that. Yes, it's absolutely our right to do that. And so what Barbara and I were just talking about is the need for legal support to make sure that we are incorporated. For example, RHA is incorporated as an organization, so we would be able to do that. So what incorporation means is that we're a legal entity that's recognized by the state of Maryland, and we're also recognized by the federal government as a nonprofit and a charity. So that gives us the ability to do things that even like a group of the reason why we incorporated and did that is because we have a legal basis for organizing that is recognized by the state, is the best way that I can say that. And so Amtrak made it super clear that a neighborhood organization like RHA could create a way to do that negotiation, but it would be up to individual landowners to agree to collectively negotiate with Amtrak. So in other words, if we were to collectively organize in this way, individual people would have to opt into organizing that way. You wouldn't be automatically in this class or this group of people that are saying, I want to negotiate as a group. The reason why we're saying that that would be a really good thing to pursue is very similar to why people unionize. You have more power when there are more people at the table asking for something. Usually corporations love to negotiate on an individual one-on-one basis because you can really manipulate the situation into your favor as a larger entity. But as individual people, it's not actually usually ever to your benefit to walk to the negotiating table as the only person. One reason, a big reason, is that you don't have the full access of information that the person you're negotiating with has. So they could say, oh, sorry, we're only going to give you $1,000. That's all we're going to do, no matter what. But as a collective, we can come together and say, we're not going to nudge unless we all get the same thing, or we want this included into our negotiation. So it's, if you're in a union or you're seeing the unionization movement, it's very similar in that way that we would be negotiating as a collective. And I know, Barbara, is your hand still up, or is that a remnant hand? Okay. No, it's okay. Lisa.
Hi, I just want to piggyback on what Barbara said. Carson, I wish she was on the call. She reached out to the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union, and she actually got a response back from the president, and who indicated that she was going to pass on the information about what was going on in the neighborhood to NYU law students. So that's also in the works as well. It was like a direct communication with Carson. And I just want to add that the fact that she got the president to even respond was amazing. But then that she said that she was going to hand it to NYU law students who would probably be, very interested in what's going on here, is also, good news on that front as well. And I just wanted to add that in as well.
Yeah, it's to speak to what Carson did, what Barbara is doing with HMRTA, it's really important that we put out all the feelers that we possibly can to get the support that we need. And I look forward to, working in collaboration with everyone's efforts to make sure that we can come to the table as strong as possible. And in my opinion, our strength is in our numbers here. So I'm really glad to hear that. But I wanted to make sure everyone on the call understood that that's something that people are very interested in pursuing, and clearly are, because people are pursuing it. So if this sounds like something that you think is really important and you want to be a part of the work of getting that done, certainly reach out to Barbara, certainly reach out to Carson. And also, I think both Barbara and Carson are on the BP Tunnel Working Group list. So if you want to email the list, you can do that too, to get that work going. The second thing is that people, with the Legal Defense Fund, I think it's also with needing legal representation. But the idea is this, that if we could fundraise for, and this would not be like dues, it would not be going into the coffers of RHA, it would be a separate thing that would be controlled by the community. I don't know how, I don't know the details, I'm just saying this out loud. There would probably be some kind of oversight committee that would not be us. It wouldn't be my board, but it would be like a written very legal thing where if something would go wrong and we needed to sue Amtrak, or leading up to this thing and we need to sue Amtrak, that we would have funding to support those efforts. So for example, during the last Amtrak meetings, and hopefully these will be uploaded, I tried to record them on my iPad. So it wasn't the best footage, but at least you can hear what was said if you weren't at the meetings. But they made it really clear what the limits of their liability are with construction and with running the trains. And those are actually two separate things as far as their legal liability for damages or anything that should happen. Also, if you have ever had to pursue a damages claim, I hope you never have had to do that before, but it can be a very prolonged process. And depending on the type of damages that occur, it could put you in a situation where, you have limited access to your home or something of that nature. I think thinking is that we set aside funding that could be used by individual members or a group of members if they need it. That's all I have to share. That's all I know about it. Again, I want to make it extremely clear, RHA is only a conduit to the work of our neighbors. We are just volunteers. And so all we can do is get resources, share information, and support work that benefits the community. So just like what you just said, where it's like Carson's doing this, Barbara's doing this person's doing this. I see RHA's role in supporting the work of our community's needs. So I'm not saying that I, Keandra, am creating a legal defense fund. I'm saying that's something that has been said to me, and I think that would be smart. And I would support that. And if you're interested in moving that forward, or you've created your own legal defense fund in the past or done work like this in the past, and you're like, hey, I know how to do that, and I can contribute to that or help that, or I think that's a really bad idea and this is why, please share your knowledge with us, because we're doing the best that we can to organize around this issue. But I just wanted to share that with everyone to make sure that they understand the conversations that are going on and the concerns that people are having right now about Amtrak. So then the last thing, which is, Daryl has been super clear with some barriers we've been facing in the last month, but I know that it's super urgent to get these Amtrak recordings online so that everyone can watch them, especially if you're on the alignment. If you don't attend those meetings in person, Amtrak does not record them. They do put the slides online, but they're not in context. I think the slides are finally online. Barbara, is that true? Maybe. They said they were, then they weren't, and it was like this whole back and forth thing.
Yeah,
But
I didn't even look. And Odessa actually did respond to us at noon. She sent a completely nonsense email. I forwarded it to the BP working group. It's bizarre.
Yeah, it's a lot to track, y'all. And we are doing our best to distill the information. I know it sounds a little bit all over the place, but that's because it actually is. And like just trying to parse it all together and figure out our strategy is a little difficult. But what is abundantly clear to me, and anyone that's even dipped their toes into the Amtrak issue, is that we have to be organized and we have to communicate with each other and we have to be diligently working on this, because things can just slide that can really impact our lives, like in a serious way. And so at the very least, please try to see if you have, a legal background, a financial background, if you have a background in architecture, if you know anything about air quality, water quality monitoring, or know someone that does any of those things, please reach out to the BP Tunnel Working Group and share what you know, because honestly, the quality of our lives depend on it in this neighborhood. I think it's really easy to be like, it's just a tunnel. There's tunnels everywhere. Like, I lived in New York. Rolando lived in New York. Like, a lot of people are like, I lived in New York. There are tunnels underneath me all the time. Like, I don't care. Like, who cares? But why we have to pay attention to this is because unfortunately, Baltimore on a whole is viewed as a place that you can just do stuff and say sorry later. And we don't want to be in that position. And we've seen that kind of play out in our neighborhood with our, water quality issues over the last year. We've had few emergencies, where we kind of found out through the grapevine, and we never know if it's really resolved or what actually happened. And so we know how that works, and we really don't want to see that repeated. So I think that's like the quick and dirty Amtrak update. I know that Carson, Barbara, and I have talked a lot about scheduling a BP Tunnel Working Group meeting, but I think we're going to 3-meet because it's been a while since we've actually had a real conversation with each other. So we're going to check in and then try to find time, maybe, the next few weeks to try to meet. It's hard because, Christmas and New Year's and all the holiday things that are happening, but we'll try to do that. And then Barbara has been doing a lot of work in trying to find time with Amtrak. So she's been coordinating to get a January meeting for the whole community on the books with Amtrak. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, Barbara.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess one positive update I think we have all been giving Amtrak some pretty harsh medicine about scheduling with RHIC, which is how these kind of back-to-back November meetings got planned, was through RHIC. And we said to them basically, look, this is a very well-intentioned group of people from other neighborhoods who are super excited about surging a marginalized population, but it's not appropriate for them to be scheduling meetings about easements or real estate with property owners from a railroad. That's just crazy. And I pushed a little bit on the board members that I know behind the scenes, one of whom lives on the alignment and was pretty displeased about it. And so when Amtrak reached out to us after the last two meetings, I had kind of a sidebar. I know we've all sort of had our little sidebars with the project team and whatever. And so they wrote to Keandra, Arlen, me, Rat, and not RHIC, thankfully, in the last week of November, and asked when we could meet because they want to have a listening session. I imagine that what they expect will happen at that meeting is that they'll put us off at, you know, different kids' cafeteria tables, and then no one will write down anything we say. But what I'm going to do is make a presentation, whether they want to see it or not. I've got my own projector. Yeah, I think, I don't know, the first date would be, the dates we pushed for were Saturday because that's the date that everyone's in town, and after work on a winter day in January, I think is really depressing. Sorry, I have a terrible cold. You'll have to excuse how froggy I sound. Yeah, I don't know. They tried to say that that wasn't convenient for them. We reiterated it's a business trip. Like, we live here. This is our free time. So I'll ping them tomorrow or the next day. That'll be a month out from the first potential date. It would either hopefully be Saturday, January 14th or Saturday, January 21st, and we'll update everyone we know with those dates, I think, when we have them. And yeah, I don't know what Amtrak will plan for this, but I know how I'm going to plan for it. And boy, yeah, I don't know. I just plan to be as annoying as possible and really just railroad them, you know, a little bit into listening to us. So anyone who has anything that they think we should be telling Amtrak, please email me or Arlen or Keandra. We're all, or the BP working group, we're all in touch. Like, as Keandra said, information is power. Sharing information, it costs us nothing to freely share information with each other. It's great. And we're all different. This is the cornerstone of liberalism. We're all different people. We're all going to see and feel different things. But in a practical way, I think it's really important that we are just super communicative with each other on this issue. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Barbara, for your continued work as we were all, you know, going through it. And I hope you feel better real soon. What I'll also say is that it's really important that if you live on the alignment or know someone that does, that you share this information with them, because we communicate a lot digitally, but we also know word of mouth is super important, because no matter how many times we flyer or send an email, people will miss it. And this is such crucial information, so many crucial meetings. And we need to be strategic about this upcoming meeting. So I know a lot of people, a couple of people said they would like to join the working group. I've added you. If you want to be in the loop, that is the main way most of this communication is happening. So if you want to join that, you can. But I think that's like the most urgent things that I don't want to inundate you with info. But those were the three, I think, most urgent things that I wanted to make sure you were aware of. They're saying they're breaking ground this month. Number two is, you know, finding legal help. We need it. Third thing is about collective organizing around land rights. And then the fourth one is the upcoming January meetings, which should occur on Saturdays. So I just want to make sure that that is in your brains and that you're knowing that's up the pike. Never, ever, ever hesitate to email any of us to tell us, like, something weird is happening. There is a drill outside. I see a bulldozer, you know, coming down the street that I didn't anticipate, or something, you know, because it can happen that quickly that like a building goes down without permits. We've seen it happen. We've seen crazy and it just happens. It's like, oops. And that's how Baltimore kind of works a little bit, is like, it's better just to do and say sorry later, is how people work in Baltimore. And so that's why it's extremely important that we work together and report to each other and have this line of communication. So again, you know, really promoting that Slack channel as a means in which to do, like, I don't love giving my cell phone out to a ton of people. So that's why Slack is an option where you don't have to share your cell phone number if you don't want to, right? But you can still be in the loop up to the minute. But I know it's another app, and a lot of people don't want to have another app on their phone or on their computer, but we're just trying to figure out different modes of communication so that we can be in the loop with each other. Yes, Barbara. Yeah.
Just one more request to everyone who's on this call. Part of the legal support that Keandra raised earlier this is all going to be written language, right? These are these easements, as it were, subsurface rights, however you want to call it. It's permission to cross our land. All of that is going to be in writing. There's 532 different property owners that they have to make a deal with, as their, like Sally from the South, real estate lady, reported. They couldn't possibly do all of that at once. That's too challenging for the railroad. So if you or anyone you know has received any written documentation from Amtrak, any written offer, please share it with the BNP Tunnel Working Group, because as Keandra mentioned, asking for money is going to be a challenge. That's not that our subsurface rights have very little value because of ground rent. We have an established market for that in Baltimore. We know what it looks like. And this isn't New Mexico. We don't have copper. This isn't Texas. We don't have oil. But what we do have are our homes that we live in. And so we need to look at that language and figure out how to structure in the asks that we have for how they stabilize our homes. So replace all of our windows, reinforce our foundations, repoint your mortar, your neighbor's mortar, whatever it is. But we need to see one of those documents. So if you or anyone you know has one, please share it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Okay, so we're at 8:15 and we are trying to make sure that we leave this call by 8:30 to be respectful of your time. Thanks for staying on the call, but does anyone else have any additional announcement before we close out for the year?
Not this time. It's Janae. I just wanted to remind everyone, well, first of all, thank you for the wonderful updates, and thank you for everyone that has volunteered to take on different projects in the neighborhood. And I just want to remind those that are listening right now, we are an organization of volunteers. So if something piques your interest, or if you want to know more, if there's any little bit that you can do to collectively uplift our organization and our neighborhood, feel free to reach out. We can use all the help that we can get. We don't want to rely on just the small group of people that have decided to step up. There's something that each and every one of us can do. And I just wanted to throw that reminder out there that, if we work together, if we band together, that only makes us stronger across the board, regardless as to what the issue is.
Thank you so much, Janae. And I think, Lily, you said you didn't have any announcements yet, or not this meeting. I think that was your voice.
It was.
Okay.
The only announcement is that St. Francis will be closed starting this Friday until the new year. So, but no upcoming events.
Thank you so much. So I want to that point, Janae, I have one final thing to say, is that at our membership meeting, a group of folks got together and thought through our block captain role. And that is something that I can foresee as being extremely helpful moving forward. And I believe Brandy was leading that group, and they basically developed a map of our block captains and really thought through the role and the resources block captains would need. But basically, a block captain would be a person who really loves their neighbors, likes talking to people, doesn't feel shy about it, would have about probably an hour or two a month to distribute flyers on behalf of the community, or could get a crew of people to help distribute flyers around their corridor to inform people about the goings on in the community. They may, support a block party over the summer maybe, or something of that nature. But generally, we're thinking of block captains as being the most foundational leadership position in the organization, for people that are like, I don't want to be a board member, don't want to sit in board meetings, but I am a really social person. I do want to involve myself and volunteer my time. So I just wanted to give you the heads up if that sounds more your speed as far as what you would like to do. Basically, the block captain idea has been floating around for a while, but I know PDC has said block captains would be amazing planning and development, because they'd be walking around, they'd be like, oh, there's illegal work going on, or, oh my gosh, I think that building is falling down. I know that sounds crazy, but that's literal things that like community members have helped us identify in the community. Or, oh my gosh, someone has not moved their car and it's opposite side of the street parking. Oh, I know that's, that's Geraldine's car. Let me call her up real quick and let her know she needs to move the car. So those are the different things that have been proposed for a block captain. So if you're interested in doing that, please reach out to contact@reservoirhillassociation.org or board@reservoirhillassociation.org. It's not like a crazy thing that you would have to go through to become a block captain. It's really about volunteering your time. And I just want to reiterate what Janae was saying, which is that we are truly volunteers. We all have 9-to-5s, or we have like additional work that we're doing. And we fit this in between all of that. And so we are not, like when we say RHA, it sounds like this big corporate entity or some like entity that's like amazing at doing all these things. We are just learning as we're going. We're trying our best, and we do it with love. And we would love for you to join the organization if you haven't already. But every single person who comes to this meetings and comes to events, you're a member and you are RHA. So don't think of RHA as a separate thing from you. You are, if you didn't come and you didn't attend these meetings and you didn't come to events, RHA would not mean anything. It would be a meaningless entity. So don't think of yourself separate. You are RHA, you are an RHA member, and we're so happy to end the year with you being a part of this group. And hopefully we will see this group grow and move on as the years go on. So I will not hold you. This is it. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. We will see you in January. I hope you're able to take all the long naps, eat all the cookies, drink all the coquito or whatever you do to celebrate, or the wine, or the spiked cider, and enjoy the ending of this very, beautiful but long year of lots of work and labor, and that we can bring in the new year with energy. So I hope that you take in all the rest that you can enjoy as we move into the new year. So happy holidays, everyone. And thanks for joining the call. See you next year, 2024.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night, all.
Bye.